This is my passion. This is Ike's Outdoors. Hey guys, Ike here from IkesOutdoors.com. Today I'm going to show you how I cook my backstrap. Now I'm not a cook, I'm not a chef, I just know how to cook you know, wild game and stuff like that. My wife does 80% of the cooking around here, but I cook most of the wild game that I take. And I want to follow up on our backstrap processing video and show you how I cook this stuff. First things first, I'm going to, of course, use a little sanitizer on my hands because I've been dealing with this meat. I'm going to get it nasty anyway, but of course I always put a little bit of sanitizer on. I've got 6 pieces here. These all come out of my backstrap of one of my bucks, and they've been defrosted, and you can see I got a little bit of fat on that one. I'm going to peel away, get rid of all that stuff like that before you start cooking this stuff, and check for any hair. Make sure there's no hair on them or anything like that, because that will ruin the flavor of the meat. So I got a little bit of fat on there still, and those trimmings like that are great if you got dogs, because the dogs will absolutely love them. I wouldn't give them too much. I'm not recommending you give them a whole lot, but just the little ones like this, the dogs will my dogs love them anyway. So this is a pretty simple recipe. If I can do it, anybody can do it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hammer out and I'm going to flatten these out a little bit and tenderize them up a little bit. Okay, so I've got an old, I don't know what the hell this thing's even called, meat tenderizer. I'm just going to tenderize that on both sides pretty good. This is from about a 2.5-year-old buck, which he's still pretty tender, but this is going to help a little bit. And it's also, I like it because it's going to help me get my seasoning in there. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here in just a minute. I'm not doing a whole lot right now. Just want to open that up a little bit and kind of put some pores in there. And like I said, I am not a cook, so I may be doing this completely wrong, but it does turn out tasting great. So I got to be doing something right. So I'm just going to do both sides real light right now. And then I'm going to add my spices, and what I'm using is, I'm using some Creole.
Put it down further. Okay.
I'm just doing that real lightly. Oops, got a little too much on that one. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So we probably won't show you that, but I'm going to do that on both sides. And then the next thing I'm going to use is rosemary leaves. And this, I've done this without the rosemary, and this really seems to make it taste better. It really does seem to bring out the flavor in the meat, and it kind of covers up any gamey taste that might be in there. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there like that, just to sprinkle it over the top. And then I'm going to take my hammer again, and I'm going to go right back over the top of this, and I'm just going to lightly crush that seasoning right down in there. And then I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so I've got a pan here on medium heat, and I've got just a light coating of oil in it. And one way to test your oil to make sure it's hot is to get your hand wet and flick some water in it. You see it didn't sizzle, it didn't pop, so the oil's not really hot yet. So we're going to get it nice and hot, and then we're going to put some seasoning in there and actually saute the seasoning. A nice French cooking term, but I have no idea if that's the right word or not, but that's what we're going to call it. Okay, so I'm just sprinkling a little bit of oregano in there, and I'm turning a little bit of pepper. And you'll notice none of my measurement, nothing here is measured, because I don't know what the measurements are. I'm just sprinkling it on there till it looks like it's right. And I'm putting this right into the oil, and I'm letting it set for a little bit and letting it get good and hot in there to bring out the flavor of those seasonings. And this pepper grinder is not really putting anything out. Alright, now we've let that seasoning get in there and get it nice and hot. The oil's hot. I'm just taking the steak and I'm putting it right down into the oil.
Did you do the second side of those? Okay.
Just like that. Try to make room for all 6 pieces in there. And that looks a little bit hot. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I'm going to cook this about 5 minutes on this side, and then I'm going to flip it over and cook it about 3 minutes on the other side. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes now, and I'm turning these over. And that's about how I like them. You see there, it's got a kind of a darker brown around the edges and lighter brown in the middle. Same way over here, same way with that. And that's about how I like them. Get them good and cooked through without getting them burned, without leaving them bloody. And if you flip one over, it doesn't look like that, just turn it right back over. I said that one there, just a little bit long. You can see it's just starting to get pretty dark. And this pan's uneven heat. This side seems to be a little hotter than this side, so we'll let this side cook for about 3 minutes, and then we'll take them out of there. Alright, so now we've got it cooked on both sides. We let it sit here for about 10 minutes. Never want to cut meat when it's freshly off of the stove. So let it sit here for about 10 minutes. I took a paper towel and just patted them down and got all that excessive oil off of them. And you can see that nice and tender. And the inside has a nice color. Still just a little, just a very, very minor shade of pink. But for the most part, it's cooked on through and it's going to have a really, really good taste. So this is a really simple recipe for backstrap. And it's a really simple way to cook it. And all the recipes I've found online were a pain in the butt to use and something that didn't sound great to me. But this is a very tasty recipe and very easy to do. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's how I cook my backstrap. For more product reviews, how-to videos, we also have a full field dressing, skinning, processing backstrap video series on our website, and that website is ikesoutdoors.com. Appreciate you guys watching.